Sam, do you know this is actually Fernando Alonso's helmet?
Yeah? Put it on.
Let's have a look. See if I can get this on. Does it look good?
Yeah, suits you, mate.
Should we do the whole video like this?
Yeah, for sure.
Need for Speed, Gran Turismo, Burnout, Forza, Midnight Club, F1, you name it, I've played it. And as well as having a massive passion for all things audiovisual and tech, I'm actually also a huge racing fan, playing all of those racing games throughout my childhood and also waking up very early on a Sunday morning to watch the Grand Prix.
What's the earliest you reckon you've woken up?
Probably earliest race would be 6 o'clock for the Australian Grand Prix.
So that's like what, 5 a.m. wake up?
I typically wake up about 3:30 because I like watching the build-up. But you guys better believe that I'm also going to be binging Drive to Survive Series 5 in probably about a day or so as well. I just live for the racing politics. It's just like really, really good reality TV. Yeah. It's like the Kardashians. And also, to divide you all straight away, I'm a massive Mercedes fan through and through. Hamilton and Russell are my boys, so I'll see you Verstappen fans down in the comments. You're one or the other. So yeah, I think me saying that I support Mercedes and I don't like Red Bull will definitely cause friction. But that's always fun though, isn't it? But in all seriousness, let me tell you, building my own racing sim has genuinely been something that I've dreamed of for a while now, and I've finally taken the plunge and built my first racing sim right here in the office. Now, I'll be completely honest with you, I was definitely a little bit lost as to where to begin, and I could see myself spending a lot of money and it not being what I was hoping for. I'm coming from the console gaming and desktop steering wheel setups, so to then jump into a purpose-built sim rig was a little bit daunting, and I genuinely had no idea where to start or how it all actually connected up. What I'm going to share with you guys is how I went about putting this sim together, the key elements of the sim build, the costings, and of course I'm also going to show you my fastest lap around Silverstone. If you enjoy this video, then make sure you subscribe and head over to our Instagram for more content like this. So the foundation for the whole sim is the actual rig itself that supports the chair, the monitor, the wheels and the pedals, providing the base for the whole setup, essentially the chassis, if you will. Now, you can get these online, but you could also opt to build your own, I guess, so long as it's sturdy enough to support the weight of everything. Now, next up, we've got the actual racing fundamentals, the race seat, the wheel, and the pedals. Now, these are all attached to the rig and can be adjusted to suit your preferences. We then have the monitor, and we've also decided to go for some speakers either side of the sim, but you can of course just use headphones. And finally, at the heart of the setup, we have our PC. Now, everything connects to the PC via USB into the back, along with the HDMI that runs from the monitor. Oh, and we've also got a wireless keyboard for navigation of the PC when we're not gaming. And like most other sim racers, we use Steam to download and play our racing games. So there you have it, super basic breakdown of our sim rig, but now you've got a general understanding of how it all comes together and how it works. So when it came to sourcing the elements for my own sim, it was tough to know which road to go down. As a childhood fan of more traditional arcade racing games and spending every Sunday afternoon watching the likes of Schumacher, Coulthard and Raikkonen battle it out, I'd always wanted to be able to have a dedicated racing simulator rather than racing with a PlayStation controller. But the other thing was that I wanted to build one that allowed me to enjoy playing a wide variety of different racing games rather than just like fully commit to a dedicated sim rig or F1 sim setup. So I guess my ultimate priority was to be able to remain comfortable and unrestricted with my setup should I decide to jump from some serious iRacing online to playing F1 casually or having a dirt rally session with my mates and so on. So in the end, I went for digital motorsports for the majority of these components, and they were super helpful in helping me make my decisions. Now, we ended up going for one of their turnkey bundles, but I made a couple of tweaks to the components. So for me and my first sim, a turnkey approach took a lot of the stress out of it, and that meant that everything arrived already set up, and all I had to do was attach the monitor, connect the PC up, and I was pretty much off. I think in total, we paid around about £6,500, give or take a few bits here and there, but that included the cost for the build and the setup. So you could do it cheaper if you went for the self-assembly option, but of course that's up to you. But let's take a closer look at what parts make up the sim. So this is a professional FIA approved OMP WRC bucket seat. It's a gel coated fiberglass shell with harness slots at the back and on the front. And we also of course have our cushioning and high-sided bolsters for leg support, all working to keep you locked in and comfy for hours of racing at a time. And because the sim lives within a shared office and is is regularly used by everyone, it's important that there are some adjustable options. So you'll notice that this seat also sits on these lower adjustable rails, so is suitable for different shapes and sizes. Moving on to the wheel then, this is the SimuCube Taco from Finnish company Granite Devices. Now this GT wheel was the perfect option for our sim racing build because it offers features and customizable buttons for racers of all abilities and for all varieties of sim racing. So again, whether it's F1, dirt, iRacing or Assetto Corsa, after looking around online, we decided to go for this wheel as it's a fairly straightforward wheel to use and navigate in comparison to the likes of some of the more dedicated F1 wheels, for example, and it is essentially a wheel that anyone can just jump on and get to grips with right away. It's a fairly basic setup with paddle gear shifting and some custom buttons on the front face, but it works well for us here in the office. Now, just behind the wheel, we have the SimuCube 2 Sport, and this is essentially the part of the rig that is responsible for offering a more realistic driving experience, and it does so by offering personalization of force feedback and responsiveness, or in other words, it makes it feel like you're actually driving a car. Somewhat. So whether we're racing around Silverstone in Hamilton's Mercedes W13 or Colin McRae's 1994 Subaru Impreza on a New Zealand dirt rally stage, this unit does a fantastic job of offering realistic responsiveness and feedback through the wheel. And just in case anything was to go wrong, we've also got our big red button, which is an ejector seat, or kill switch to the steering resistance. But the ejector seat sounds cooler. Can I just make sure that is definitely how you say Husingveld? Huisingveld. Moving on then, and underneath our setup we have 3 Husingveld sprint pedals. Now these are pretty highly regarded amongst other sim racers and pro drivers out there, and in similar fashion to the SimuCube 2 Sport, help to offer fantastic realism and responsiveness. Now you can go for a sim setup with a 2 pedal option, so you do away with the clutch altogether, but it does of course take sim racing to the next level and adds to that overall level of realism. And finally, for our screen, we went for a 49-inch curved electric LED monitor that offers a great field of view regardless of camera positioning in game, and the fact that it is super wide just helps make the racing experience so much more immersive. Now, one of the main reasons behind going for this particular monitor was not only with the overall budget in mind, but also the ease of use, and I think it looks really nice and clean within the overall setup. Now I nearly went for a 3-screen setup, but I did chat to a few people who pointed out that you'd have the lines of the edges of each monitor interrupting the picture, and that was something that I didn't really want. So that 1-screen setup gives me enough immersion without having any distraction. And it also means that I don't need to worry about getting a multi-screen monitor rig, I haven't got to worry about the cable management or any teething issues with a multi-monitor setup. But having said that, after using the sim for a little while now, I think as time goes on, this screen will be one of the first things that I'm going to upgrade. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a great monitor considering its price point, but I'd love to upgrade this in the future to something like the Samsung Odyssey G9 Mini LED monitor that offers a lower response time and higher refresh rate, as well as NVIDIA G-Sync and so on. Again, definitely not something that I'll be changing anytime soon, but something that I would like to switch up to over time. Next up, the audio. Now, I like to race with headphones on when I'm trying to be serious about my racing online. So I'm a big fan of the Astro A50s, and I use these when I'm racing on my own. But for the most part, we've got a couple of us who play on the sim at the same sort of time, setting hop laps for each other to try and beat, taking turns doing rally stages on Colin McRae Dirt and so on. So to really help take this racing sim to the next level and make it engaging and exciting for everyone, including those watching, we're running the audio through these Q Acoustics M20s. Now these speakers are perfect for our setup. They fit really nicely either side of the sim, and they offer very impressive sound quality for the price point. And last but by no means least, at the heart of the setup is the gaming PC. Now I could honestly make a dedicated separate video about this PC and the spec list and what we've decided to go for, but instead we'll pop all of the internals on screen now if you'd like to pause and take a look, or if you want to rate our sim racing PC setup down in the comments below. So there we have it. That's my 2023 sim racing setup for around about 6.5K. Now for me, I'm honestly chuffed with this setup. I love how versatile it is, and it also means that I've gotten away with getting it for the office. Now I do think it gives a realistic gaming experience for all types of games, and don't get me wrong, if you're F1 mad, then you could go for a dedicated F1 setup. But for me, this solution has been great. Now I'm going to upgrade elements over time, of course, but as a first sim and a basis to build on, this has been a great starting point. Now I'm under no illusion that £6,500 is a lot of money, but I don't think that there are any elements of the sim that we don't make use of or feel like are a waste of money, but I do think that you could get a somewhat similar enjoyment level out of something on a much cheaper budget, or if you go down the route of building it yourself, using your TV as a monitor and those kind of things, so saving yourself some money along the way. However, the basis of all racing sims and the key elements to look out for remain the same regardless of your budget. Now, no racing sim video would be complete without a quick hot lap, so if any of you guys out there play F1 and want to have a race, I'm going to jump in the Merc W13 around Silverstone and see what time I can set. Okay, we go again. Started well on that lap, but got away from us there. Another 130. So here we go. It's sick through there, don't want to be doing that, but again, cutting in nice and tight to that left-hander. And now we're just flat out through. We're going to take as much of that left-hander as we can. The delta's looking really good, almost half a second. Again, this double apex, got to be cleaner through here. This is where I'm losing a lot of time. A little bit neater, could have stayed in fourth, but just keeping it tight now through here, and it's this straight. This is where I need to keep the delta on my side. This is where I'm losing time. You can see it ticking down 200ths now. Keep it pinned in 7th rather than 8th. A lot of people stay in 8th through there. And this is where I need to be really clean and tidy. Just sort of floating the car through here. It's cleaner, it's not quick, but we're still positive on the delta, which is the main thing. So I just need these last 4 corners to be nice and clean now. Don't want to lose too much time. Back end wants to get away from you there, using a lot of the track. Let's just keep it clean through here, and it should be a new record for me anyway. It's flat out to the line now. Last little right-hander, cut that. And there we have it, that's a 129.590. So, by no means the quickest lap ever. I think that's still 5 seconds short of a world record. How on earth these professionals actually find that additional time, I do not know. But if you guys have got any advice for me in the comment section down below, please let me know. I'm desperate to try and get a bit quicker on here. But for now, I'll take a 120. Oh, how if I that up right at the end. But for now, I will take a 129.590. There we have it. If you have set a time, then please let me know down in the comments below. Love to see what you guys are doing. And also, if you've got any tips for me, then please let me know, because I'm desperate to get a little bit quicker. Now, don't forget, if you are local to Gloucester, then you can book an appointment to come down, visit our showroom and play on this very racing sim. The details for that are linked in the description below.